I still remember that night, the smell of roses, the shimmer of champagne, and the sound of my world breaking into pieces. It was supposed to be our engagement party, mine and Daniel's. The ballroom glowed golden, laughter floated through the air, and my heart felt light for the first time in years. I stood there, in that silver dress he said made me look like the moon itself. I believed him. I believed every word. Then the microphone squealed and the music faded. Everyone turned to the stage where Daniel stood, holding the hand of a woman in red. Her voice echoed through the hall, confident and cold. "I have something to announce," she said. "Daniel and I are getting married." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The glass slipped from my hand and shattered against the marble, and the sound was sharp enough to slice through the laughter that followed. The crowd gasped, cameras flashed, and I stood there frozen, drowning in a storm I never saw coming. She looked straight at me when she said it, a tiny smirk tugging at her painted lips. That woman was Clara, my best friend, my sister in everything but blood. The whispers started immediately, words like betrayal, scandal, pity. Someone's hand touched my shoulder, maybe to comfort me, but it felt like a blade pressing down. Daniel wouldn't even meet my eyes. He just held hers. I walked out before the tears could fall, heels clicking like gunshots across the marble floor. Outside, the night was cold. The stars above looked cruel, watching silently as I fell apart. But in the middle of that silence, something inside me shifted. Pain turned into something else, sharper, clearer. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was clarity. That night, I promised myself one thing. If she could steal my life so easily, then I would steal her peace. Not with screams, not with chaos, but with truth. Because Clara wasn't who she pretended to be. I knew her past, her secrets, the ones she thought were buried forever, and soon, so would the world. Clara and I weren't just friends, we were inseparable. From the very first day of college, we clicked like two pieces that had been waiting to find each other. I was quiet and careful, the type who always planned everything. She was wild, fearless, the kind of girl who could walk into a room and make everyone turn their head. Together, we balanced each other. We shared everything: clothes, secrets, dreams, even heartbreaks. When she cried, I stayed up all night comforting her. When I doubted myself, she'd hold my hand and say, "You're stronger than you think." I believed that. After college, we moved to the city. I worked in marketing, she started in fashion PR, and we rented a small apartment together. Our laughter filled those walls. Then I met Daniel. He was calm, kind, the kind of man who made you feel safe even when your world was falling apart. When I introduced him to Clara, she hugged me and said, "Finally, someone who deserves you." I smiled. I didn't notice how long she held his gaze. The three of us became close. Movie nights, long drives, late dinners. It became a routine. And somewhere in that routine, small things started to shift. She began calling him more, visiting his office, sending him jokes. Sometimes I'd walk into a room and find them talking quietly, stopping mid-sentence when they saw me. She'd laugh it off and he'd avoid my eyes. Those moments were small, but they hurt. I told myself I was overthinking, that love and friendship could coexist. But I was wrong. One night, as I was cleaning, I found her earring under our couch, a golden hoop I'd never seen before. She said she lost it weeks ago. I wanted to believe her, but something in her tone cracked. That was the first time I realized how dangerous blind trust could be. Still, I stayed silent because I believed love could fix everything. I believed her. And that's how betrayal begins. Not with a lie, but with the silence that follows. It began with a message I wasn't supposed to see. His phone buzzed while he was in the shower. I wasn't the kind who checked phones, but that night, something inside me whispered, "Look once." The screen lit up. Her name, Clara, and the words that burned into my mind forever. I can't wait to see you again. Last night felt perfect. My body went cold. The phone slipped from my hands. I just stood there frozen, realizing my life was now divided into before that message and after it. When he came out, I smiled. I acted normal because I needed time. I needed proof. The next few days, I became an actress in my own home. I laughed, I kissed him goodnight, while inside, my heart collected evidence. Then one afternoon, I found an email meant for Daniel. It was from Clara, with attachments, confidential designs from Daniel's firm worth millions. She didn't just want him, she wanted everything that came with him. His name, his success, his future. I sat there, staring at the screen, my hands trembling as I copied everything into a hidden folder. That night, I asked him, "Do you love her?" He froze. "What are you talking about?" "I saw the messages," I said. He looked away. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I asked. "A business meeting, or did she accidentally fall into your bed?" Silence. That's how you know someone's guilty, not by their words, but by their silence. He finally said, "I didn't mean for it to happen." 2 weeks later, they got engaged. My heart broke, but not loudly. It turned cold. That night, I opened the folder of evidence. For the first time since the betrayal, I smiled. If they wanted to build their paradise on my pain, I'd turn that paradise into a mirror, so they could finally see the monsters they'd become. When the shock passed and the hurt turned numb, something steadied inside me. Not rage, something colder. Rage is loud. This had to be quiet and precise. If Clara wanted to steal my life, she'd learn what it felt like to have hers dismantled piece by piece. I became two people at once. Outwardly, I laughed, congratulated her engagement, asked about wedding plans. Inwardly, I was working like a surgeon, patient, methodical. I gathered every file, every proof, every tiny thread. I even hired a private investigator to fill the gaps. Witnesses, receipts, emails, statements. I didn't leak everything at once. I built a case. Then I found her weaknesses, her fashion brand, her sponsors, her PR firm. I sent evidence to a journalist, then to Daniel's company's compliance team. I waited. The day of her wedding was my deadline. I met her for coffee a week before in the same cafe where we'd shared secrets years ago. She came smiling, perfect as ever. I slid a single email across the table. You made me a fool. For how long?" She froze. "It's not what you think," she whispered. "It's exactly what I think." I stood, left money on the table, and walked away. No screaming, no chaos, just truth waiting to surface. On her wedding day, the journalist published the story. Fashion's rising star accused of corporate espionage. Within hours, her firm was under investigation. Her name trended for all the wrong reasons. By the time she reached the altar, whispers filled the hall. Daniel's best man got a call from the company. They were pulling out of all projects tied to her. Daniel's face went white. "Is this true?" he asked. Cameras flashed. Guests gasped. The music stopped. She stood frozen, her dream crumbling around her. I watched from the back, silent. She searched for someone to defend her, but everyone stepped away. The ring slipped from Daniel's hand, rolled across the floor, and hit her heel with a sharp echo. Her father whispered, "Enough." It was over. The world reacted fast. The articles spread everywhere. Sponsors left. Her company shut down. Her name turned into a warning. Daniel resigned. I ignored his message that said, "I didn't know." Ignorance isn't innocence. Clara disappeared. Months passed. Sometimes I heard her name like a ghost in conversation. "Remember that designer who betrayed her friend?" I went back to work, to life, though nothing felt the same. One day, a letter arrived in her handwriting. It said, "I never hated you. I just wanted your life." No apology, just confession. I read it twice and burned it. Watching the paper curl into ash didn't make me feel powerful. It made me feel free. But freedom has its price. Some nights I woke hearing the echo of that wedding silence, wondering if I'd gone too far. Then I remembered the night she smiled while announcing her betrayal, and I knew the answer. Justice isn't always kind. Sometimes it's cold, and that's what makes it real. Months later, I walked past the cafe we once loved. It was empty now, dust on the chairs. For a second, I thought I saw her reflection in the window. Tired, hollow, but I didn't stop. Because betrayal changes you. It ends friendships, breaks hearts, and teaches you the truth about love, trust, and forgiveness. Clara lost everything trying to steal my life. I lost my softness trying to reclaim it. That's the price of revenge. It doesn't give back what was taken, it only balances the scales. But as I watched the sunset that evening, painting the sky in red and gold, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't need her downfall to define me. Revenge may have ended her story, but truth, that gave me back my own.